Last week on Gleeboot, it was the previously unaired Christmas special, which makes no sense whether it was canonical or non-canonical. It featured weird, creepy robber Santa, Becky being very sexually aggressive, and prove that the Glee writers have heard of Christians, but like most groups that exist in society outside of white straight men and white gay men, they don't know what they're like. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Gleeboot.
Yeah. That episode, I have nothing to say. I think I said it all last week.
The barrel. Yeah, we spent 3 hours. Yeah, we said it all.
Yeah, that's a long one.
But so it's just us hosts today. So before we get totally lost, welcome to Gleeboot, the show where we get drunk, talk about rebooting Glee one episode at a time. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
I'm Hannah.
I had a random thought today, and I just Googled Glee podcast. We're in the top 10 Glee podcasts.
What?
We're in the top 10 results. On the top on the list results. 2 of them are Kevin and Jenna's podcast, which they're actors.
They don't count.
Yeah.
Makes sense. They were on the show.
So it's us, Glee on the Rocks, which we're hopefully doing a crossover with soon. Gleek of the Week, which we have crossed over with.
Yes.
There's a couple others, including I'm not going to call them out, but they did not reply to my Instagram DM asking me to be a guest.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's already kind of calling them out. But anyway, that's crazy. Are we doing good at SEO on accident? Or is it just there's just so few Glee podcasts?
At the same time, there's more than 10. It's not like we're in the top 10 because there's only 10.
We know at least there's 11.
There's at least 11.
There's actually a lot. Some have there are a few that have stopped because the show gets bad, or
yeah,
or they do a lot of different episodes. So I think we're actually the farthest along in the show of all the Glee podcasts.
Oh,
I mean, you know what? We deserve a fucking award after
we do.
we get a Gleeky.
Oh boy.
Oh no. Also, a quick side note, I don't know why YouTube's algorithm is the way it is, except it listens to the Google listens to everything you do.
Yeah.
Whatever. Idina Menzel's career breakdown little video came up. It was very good. It was by a content creator called Staged Right. It was very good. It was short, sweet. Well, not really short. It was 30 minutes, but it wasn't super, super comprehensive, very interesting. But then
it
as
wasn't
soon as
5-hour video, The Failure of Victorious.
No. But as soon as he mentioned her being on Glee, Idina Menzel, I was it kind of put in perspective, oh, actually this was kind of one of her forays into non-stage, non-live performance. Aside from the Rent movie adaptation, Glee was, and I was fascinating. So a little fun fact about our friend Adele Dazeem. So
the TikTok trend where they're they call me Stacey, and they show clips. Actors will show clips of their different roles. When Idina Menzel
and I were both
you know the song, That's Not My Name.
Oh yeah, I know the name, but I don't know the TikTok trend.
It's a TikTok trend.
What is a TikTok?
And so Idina Menzel did one, and she had her Glee character, but it just said Rachel's mom. Does not remember the name Shelby.
That's amazing. I mean, let's be honest. Shelby Corcoran, not a great name. It doesn't. I'm sorry if your name's Shelby Corcoran out there, but I'm saying for a character, it doesn't pop.
It sounds like
Rachel Berry, Quinn Fabray. There's something.
It's it sounds like the name of a sea snail that's in Rainbow Fish's 3rd grade class.
Okay.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what it sounds like. She's in my Rainbow Fish fan fiction. But also, I Googled Gleeboot to see, and it was mostly just links to other podcasts we had crossed over with, or links to our various episodes. But I found a Reddit post from around when we began. We have a Reddit.
Well, I'm sorry, what are we r/Gleeboot?
I think so. Something.
No. If it is, we are going on there. I'm going to have my boyfriend run it because he's on Reddit all the time. He is going to mod for it. It's going to be great. Lit, as the kids say.
Lit, as the kids used
Okay,
to
I
say.
need I need this. Okay, I need this.
So it's from True South is True 2 years ago. So sorry for the late shout out, but hopefully you're still listening. Hello, this is my first post here. So I just wanted to share with all the hardcore Gleeks who have watched the full show and are now looking for more Glee related stuff. Found a podcast called Gleeboot. They aren't too far into the discussion yet, so you can still catch up and be up to date pretty quick. I'll put Google Podcast link here. Have a good day.
I could literally cry. So
Wow.
wait, is it literally reddit.com/r/ Gleeboot? Did they create the thread?
It's a thread called Gleeboot. I don't really understand Reddit.
Okay.
Because I'm a Democrat, but like
Okay. I want to just make an amendment to say that my boyfriend is not a crazy person who goes on Reddit posting like alt-right memes. Okay.
Not everyone on Reddit is like that. You know, we're full of the jokes here on Gleeboot.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to look at this. I'm gonna have to have Lyle explain it to us. I'd be like, okay, is this someone created a thread of us who creates threads? How did it come to be? He'll be able to answer those questions.
More
Okay.
updates on that later.
Now do we at the end of the podcast, I'm gonna plug the Reddit thread, I guess. I'm gonna pull it up.
And also poll votes are in. Our listeners like puppets.
What?
Use 70 to 30%, but
Wait, what was the
I
poll?
did an Instagram poll. It said, do you like puppets? And the options were yes, I'm cultured. No, I'm a Visigoth.
I see.
And people are not Visigoths. They did not sack Rome. So they like puppets.
Okay, so no, we're in the Glee Reddit.
Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna be like, whoa. Yeah, but they put the Google Podcast link here. And then also just like I Googled Gleeboot Reddit. And there's the second thing is there is no Gleeboot. There was never going to be a Gleeboot. And I'm like, oh, I'm intrigued.
Well, because Ryan Murphy did have that tweet. We discussed it where he was basically came up with the worst idea possible for a Gleeboot. What if we used the same actors and had basically a slightly different plot?
Eh.
No, he wanted Leah Michelle, Ben Platt, and Beanie Feldstein, all not teenagers, all like in their 30s. I'm pretty sure. So I think he deleted the tweet.
Yeah, because that post was literally from 2 years ago. But it's just funny because like it's using our title, and then I was like, well, we should make a reply. We're like, but there is, and you can find it here.
Yes.
Now we should dedicate a mini-sode to going through the Glee Reddit or like Glee memes.
There are some good ones. They get a lot of content. I mean, my favorite, actually rewatched it, was the interview with Jenna and Kevin and Tyler Oakley, where he like quizzes them on Glee plot lines.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, don't know what's going on. And Jenna's like, yeah, I stopped watching. And they're like, yeah, your character went through a lot. And she's like, yeah.
I don't remember most of it. I had a lot of therapy to help cure me of that.
And they're like, we didn't get to keep the puppets. And they're
Why
like,
was that a
someone
thing?
has those puppets.
Why did they want them?
Well, if someone made a puppet of me, I guess I'd want it.
No. What?
Do you just to make sure that nobody else has it?
Yeah, because no
yeah,
one can
okay,
do
I can
magic
see
on
that.
it if I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a voodoo doll.
Yeah.
I feel like
Artie,
those puppets are decommissioned and like their parts have been used for other puppets. That's what I think.
I wonder if like there's gonna be an LA pop-up with like random props, and it's gonna be the full set of Glee puppets, Gluppets, if you will, as the French would say. Artie or Kevin said he also took Artie's wheelchair home with him. They weren't gonna let him take it, but he took it.
I'm just picturing Kevin McHale like zooming down and they're running after him like, no, Kevin.
And he's like,
Kevin,
and
no.
Tyler was like, oh, you took someone's wheelchair? He's like, I took my wheelchair.
Yeah, that no one was using that. They bought that probably specifically for the show. They probably bought like 2 or 3 just in case, his character gets tipped over and they have to, you know, do damage to it.
Okay, so let's.
Is that a good segue? Did I do podcast good?
Did you podcast? Oh, what are we drinking?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I've got Angry Orchard because I could not be bothered to get a wine glass from the cupboard and pour the wine.
It's also a Tuesday as opposed to our usual
Yes.
Sunday. Yeah.
It is a Tuesday.
I'm Kua Bay India Pale Ale, which I think Alyssa was drinking last week. Or
Yes.
ago.
Yeah. 2 days ago. I made myself some sort of yummy grape shake with frozen grapes and Baileys and vodka and the sugar, liquid sugar that you
Corn
put
syrup?
in drinks.
Syrup.
No,
Simple syrup.
simple syrup. Yes.
Interesting.
It's
Now,
delicious.
is this a concoction you just decided to put together, or
Yeah.
did you see it somewhere?
Nope.
Bold, yet again. You are very bold with being like, I think these things will go together.
This is why Alyssa has protagonist energy.
Yeah. Well, also, I think you just have maybe you have like a secret, like innate palate for like mixing drinks. Like, because I mean, if
Maybe?
it turns out to be really good,
Doubtful. I mean, like it's good, but it's definitely. I was gonna put some lime juice in it too, which I think would have kicked it up a notch. But unfortunately, both the lime and the lemon juice were out of date. So
Like that margarita
Yeah.
mix we've had in there for a few years. I think. Or no, that was from my party in June.
is that
Yeah.
still in the fridge?
It's from June, but it's in the fridge, yes.
We should get rid of that.
I don't know if it goes bad.
everything goes back.
Just likely. Mary
Oh, yeah,
Smash
it's
Kill.
spoiled a long time ago. Mary Smash Kill. Who we doing?
We doing Queen Bees. We are doing Quinn Fabray of Glee. We're doing Lydia, I forgot to look up her last name, of Teen Wolf.
Okay.
And we're doing Mary Stuart, Queen of Scotland and France, and rightfully England from Reign.
I was gonna say, wait, like literally the historical figure.
Yep, the historical.
I
figure.
forgot
Reign is
Reign
not known for its
existed.
historical accuracy.
Right.
But
She
you
gives
know,
off queen bee energy. In
she's
the
a
show.
literal queen. She's a queen. And then when Lola, who shitty character played by Anna Popplewell from Narnia, is like, my boyfriend tried to rape you and you're like punishing him. And she's like, yeah, but like I thought we were friends. And she's like, no, you're a queen. This is the pilot, so
Okay, so
She's an actual queen, right? Like in the show,
yeah,
she's a queen.
she's the
I guess-
queen of Scotland from her birth, and then she's engaged and later married to the king of France.
I guess
Who's her age?
I'm going to have to, I guess, attempt to assassinate the queen. Because I have no want to be part of that. Now here's the tricky thing. Do I want to marry Quinn or do I want to marry Lydia? I don't know who I'd rather spend the longest amount of time with. I think I would smash Quinn, marry Lydia, because Lydia has a really fantastic arc throughout the show. Love
She
her.
does.
She's also very smart.
She's
super
incredibly
smart.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, like Quinn never struck me as dumb. I mean, she's in Yale,
Yeah.
but life choice wise, I
Yeah,
would.
Lydia's a banshee too, which
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's kind of interesting. That could come in handy, I guess, when we're married. I don't know how.
She could scream at you right before you die.
That's true. A quick
Imagine
death.
Hannah in the hospital. Just, I would murder Quinn because stealing the baby thing. That's too much. I can't deal with that. I don't need that energy
Yeah.
in my life.
I wonder if
Um,
Adele Dazeem remembers filming all of that.
No, she doesn't.
I should call her Adina Menzel like she was born.
I would bet $100 that she just blocked all that out. She's like,
It'll be like oh my god, yeah, I totally forgot that I did that.
I would sleep with Lydia, and I would marry Mary because she's a great character, very smart, very competent. And her downfall was some of her shitty husbands. So hopefully, together, we could rule Scotland and England.
That makes sense.
I have a very important question.
Yeah.
If I marry the Queen,
Mhm.
Queen Mary,
Yeah.
does that automatically make me a ruler?
You'd be a consort because she is queen in her own right.
Okay.
So you don't make the laws. She makes the laws. She signs the checks. You help plan feasts.
Okay, we're gonna do this
Party
long
planner.
game
That's
here.
pretty fun.
Long game. I'm gonna marry her
Mhm.
and then assassinate her so I can be ruler. So like marry and kill.
You know what?
And
She had to
fuck
die
at some
in the
point.
show
You have to
too.
you have to make that marriage official.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't become ruler because you're a consort.
Well, then I don't want to marry her.
Yeah. It
The
Kill
was,
only
her.
reason I would marry her is if she would somehow make me ruler.
Mhm.
you would maybe you could be a dowager queen influencing your child. Like you could there's a big part of the show is what's it called? What's the role? When a monarch is too young to rule, so they have someone who basically runs it while the monarch is
Yeah.
growing up. You could do that with your children.
That seems like too much work. I've lost interest.
Killer.
So actually I'm gonna kill Quinn. And I'm gonna fuck Mary because it still seems like it'd be good to go on that list, you know, like
Be a mistress.
I fucked a queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna marry Lydia because she's just like the best out of the three of them. I could spend the most time with her. She can be a portent to my death. Like, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, because Mary had to die in the finale of her TV show and in her Saoirse Ronan movie and in real life.
Wow.
So
Well, I mean, everybody dies.
It's true.
She was beheaded.
Not everybody gets beheaded. That's a good point.
Yeah. Her son is the reason England and Scotland are one country. Yeah.
Fun fact.
He's also the King James from King James Bible.
I guess a fun fact.
He
made everything harder to understand.
And John Knox, who was Mary Queen of Scots' top enemy, wrote this episode of Glee. He was famous for his diatribes against women, especially women rulers, women having any authority, women doing anything. He was not a fan. And he rose from the dead to make sure everyone knew that women should not be given even as much authority as being a Broadway actress, because they would wreak havoc. Like, they should not be valedictorians. They would wreak havoc. They should not be principals. They would wreak havoc.
Is that who was that guy played by in the Saoirse Ronan movie?
I don't
was
remember.
That David Tennant?
He was the guy on the pulpit with crosses going like, lock her up or whatever.
I think that was David Tennant, if I remember correctly.
Taylor
That was a good
Swift's
movie, though.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Taylor Swift's boyfriend is in it.
I don't know him.
Joe Alwyn. I did not know he did anything other than be Taylor Swift's boyfriend and write songs with her, but I was like, oh, I saw that movie. He was in it. Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about frenemies, which is the reason women are not paid equally because of this episode. People see it and they're like, I'm not paying women.
I think this is like hilarious because Hannah and I, who are both women, were like, this is a good episode. And Cullen, who is a man, says like, this episode hates women.
But
It does.
Also, we should give some more context, okay? We, on International Women's Day, Cullen demonstrated his allyship for women by texting Alyssa and I, saying, I should really just have the quote, but I'm pretty sure I can get it right. Happy International Women's Day. To show my support, I'm going to double your pay from no money to double no money. And the best part about this is that if we had an HR, that text is assuming that he would be making the HR decisions because he's a man.
Yeah.
So
And I was typing it. I'm like, this implies I'm like different or like have some kind of authority. Would they be offended? And I'm like, I feel like it adds to the humor.
yes, I got it, but it was just like multi-layered joke. It's just chef's kiss.
That is, that is Disney level allyship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like when you tell me on, by visibility, you're like, I see you. No, actually, this year I want you to just text me, I see you, so that I'm just like looking around. I'm like, oh, right.
So, because Rafa is obsessed with Pretty Little Liars, like he just recites scenes while we're making out. And he he found a way. I mean, he's probably just a Google number to have a number to just like text me like a style like Pretty Little Liars text, like I'm watching you, signed L, because he has an alternate persona, Lalo, who wears a green wig. And so he'll just text me like, I'm watching you, or you should get your boyfriend. He meant to say shovel, but he typed shuffle. And so at first I just saw this and this text, I was at work, like it was towards the end of the day, I was alone. I was like, who would send me this? And I like pieced it together. Because I'm like, L, I'm like, oh. And I was like, you sent me a text, like that wasn't me. I'm like, who else would do this?
How many people do you know are fans of Pretty Little Liars?
He apparently in school growing up was part of a Pretty Little Liars fan club that was like a multi-school fan club. Like people from different high schools were part of this fan club.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I did not know that existed.
Yeah.
Me either.
I
it's like an honor society.
I need to do more research.
Or the Masons.
Because when he was like, oh, like Pretty Little Liars is like a bigger show than Glee. And I was like, I can't speak to the writing. I haven't watched it. What I can say though is that Glee is more culturally influential. But I'm wondering if maybe because like Pretty Little Liars was on ABC Family, which like right. Glee was on Fox, so more people had access to it.
Yeah. And ABC Family, it's literally like got family in the words. People are like, oh, this is more family friendly.
Yeah. Most of that show is underage girls dating adult men, so I don't know. But maybe I don't know if like how shows are packaged internationally, maybe it had a bigger presence. And
yeah, I could probably see that.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember in college, my friends liked it, and I tried to watch it with them once, and I was like, I can't tell these characters apart.
But also, there's like mystery to Pretty Little Liars. And Glee just puts everything out there. Like it's tits out, balls out. Like
it might have a bigger cult following. Like they tend to be.
Yeah, how many Pretty Little Liar TikToks are there?
How many Pretty Little Liar podcasts are there? Let's look. No, we need to talk about this.
We literally have to talk about this pretty okay episode.
So bad.
We have to go. We have to. It's been a half hour, you guys. Let's go.
Whoever edits this can honestly just chop up that first 30 minutes. Who fucking cares?
But that's so much work. Sometimes I just listen. I'm like, yep. So, frenemies. We got 3 plots. We got Naira, Verily, and Michelle hating each other, so they just put it in the show.
That's something I wanted to talk about because I'm like, wait, is this happening the same time when they're not liking each other, or
because I do know
precede it
that they were friends or like friendly at a time.
Yes,
because there was I saw on Instagram a quote from Naya's book about them lingerie shopping together, which is actually a very Rachel and Santana. Like I could see those 2 characters doing that. So yeah, so I know they were friends, but I do know they did not always get along. Maybe
this is like the thing that's like, okay, now we have a reason not to put them in scenes as much or at all.
Though it is, I think, the one episode Chris Colfer wrote, the one with Take Me Home Tonight that we talked about on Week of the Week, is apparently like the straw that broke the camel's back and like made them like not be able to talk to each other.
Right.
Yeah. And then we have Tina and Artie, or the storyline of Kevin McHale and Jen Ushquitz are friends, so we'll just pretend like these two characters are best friends.
Right.
Even though we'll make up that they hang out all the time, even though that has not been referenced ever before.
Mm-mm.
And then we have Glee's gayest storyline yet, Kurt and Elliott. Kelliot.
Or
Sounds
Car
like
Child.
Irish serial killer.
I've decided to call it Car Child.
Car Child. What you name when you give birth to your kid on the way to the hospital?
Car Child. Yep, exactly. Right. And then you make it with a K, so it's like if I marry a Kardashian, they could easily become a Kardashian and fit right in.
Car Child Kardashian?
What? Yeah, Car Child Kardashian. You can.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
You know, you just got to get up off your ass and work.
Okay.
Okay. Should we start in McKinley? Because that I usually try and start with the shorter storyline first.
Yeah, let's do Tardy.
Yeah. I forgot that's what we called them. Throwback to season 1.
Oh, that's so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't even I feel like half the songs in this episode made no impression on me. Like I don't remember them.
I don't either, actually. It's hard. Most of this episode is like, typically, I want to say Glee is humorous. This episode is not funny.
Yeah, no. I did choke laugh at one point, and it was what Sue says, but you know, that's doesn't count. The rest of the episode, not funny.
No, there were like
Not
next to
awkward.
no jokes.
Not funny. It's awkward. It's an awkward episode.
See?
But I was into it. I was like, you know what? I think it was because there was something interesting to chew on with the Rachel Santana storyline. I thought it was interesting, even if I think Rachel's being a brat. I was like, at least it's something to watch.
It also like it felt almost like someone who doesn't normally write comedy was like, these are the storylines. Okay, go.
Yeah, there was some interesting drama that doesn't usually happen.
It just felt like an episode that was like plucked from a drama and just stuck into Glee.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me like strong 2016 election vibes, like terrible people wreaking havoc. Who do you pick? End up in hell either way, you know.
So yeah, the first line I have in my notes about the storyline is, so wait, Tina and Artie are friends? ?
Yeah, because they say that every Tuesday they avoid Taco Tuesday. That has like beetle dung in the meat or something. And
it's like prison, it's the same like, prison meat, which is allowed to have like 6% insect larva.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so they apparently have lunch together every Tuesday. We are backtracking and creating a friendship for these characters.
Yep.
I totally believe it. Not.
Hannah's shaking her head.
No.
So she's nervous because she got accepted to what she's now calling the stupid vet school. I'm like, you were excited about this before.
Yeah. And I think she said she got into Ohio State. I'm like, that's also a good school. Like, and it's like 2.5 hours away from you. So it's like somewhat farther away from Lima. But she got waitlisted at Brown, which is like, it sucks. That totally
does
sucks.
suck. But again, Ohio State is not a bad school. And I am from Michigan.
Yeah, like it's a really good school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so also out-of-state tuition.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to pay that. So she could pay in-state tuition at Ohio State, which is already kind of expensive.
So then Artie's like, you're going to be able to go, like, even though you only have a 2% chance, it'll happen. And they sing, whenever I call you friend. Me reading
skipped
the title
right through
because
it.
I don't remember it.
I literally cannot listen to Artie and Tina singing together.
So there is
Yeah.
like, there's all these shots of the rest of the Glee Club, like in the hallway, and we get like side face shots. And
I barely remember this scene. Barely.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the song at all.
who
It
sings
was
it? Who's like
unbearable. to listen to.
original? The John Knox Choir. No, Kenny Loggins and Stevie Nicks. Two people that are talented, but
I mean, it's not to say that Jenna Ushkowitz and Kevin McHale aren't talented, but a
No.
definite like misuse of their talents for sure.
yeah, I feel like they could have sung a better song, like the Full House theme music.
Or literally nothing at all. There really wasn't any reason to sing. It was another shoehorned in number. I was like, I get it, you're friends. Go right to the spot where you talk about with Sue. I don't think we need a number, but I guess they need a number to express their feelings, because then their feelings get crushed because they're pitted against each other.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to care.
Sue doesn't. Sue is like, considering you're she calls Artie a nerd, and I would like to point out that the nerdiest thing about Artie is
He
that
has
he
glasses.
has glasses,
Yeah.
and they reference the patriotic wedgie at one point, which, I mean, hanging a kid in a wheelchair off of a flagpole by his underwear is pretty dark. But like, that's the only like nerd stuff. Like, he never talks about, like, Finn was the one who liked Star Wars.
Well, so
like-
did Artie, because he forced upon us the Star Wars Christmas special-esque Christmas special.
Yeah, but like, okay, yes. So he did like Star Wars in the Christmas episode. That's where I'm getting it. But other than that, like, he mainly like dates cheerleaders and stuff.
Yeah, and he's
I mean, I guess you could call misogyny part of nerd culture. And he-
you know what? You got a point there.
Yeah, and then what did she call Tina? She's like, considering you're like a shrill, whiny, I don't remember.
She says something about like that all you do is spend your time saying something insequential, like, oh my god, Kitty, and like,
Oh,
you're so
yeah.
right, Blaine, and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that
And I was
really-
like, this is where Sue shines, when she is the meta voice
Yep.
for critiques of the show.
because she's like, you've both been in that choir room every week, despite that all being you get to do.
Yep.
I would say Artie actually gets a lot more solos than Tina.
Yeah, that's probably
Mhm.
true.
Yeah. So, but she's like, yeah, you have the exact same grade average, the exact same extracurriculars. So like, you'll have to do a speech off, and we'll decide who gets to be valedictorian.
Can't you do co-valedictorians? Isn't that
Yes,
a
you
thing?
can.
Well, they do co-salutatorians or whatever
Yeah, I don't.
2 seconds later.
Uh-huh.
Well, I know that, okay. I think my school, granted we were a really small school, I think we had like 6 valedictorians, and then the other 4 of us didn't quite make it. We were still in like the top 10 or whatever.
So
but
you were
anyway.
in the top 10. Is that your sideways brag saying you're in the top 10?
Yeah, I was in the top 10 in my class. I just barely made it over someone else, and that person was really mad, which, like, I understand why, but also I made it.
We
But
all
like,
have enemies from high school. I get it.
but like, oh, and then the other thing is, like, I also got a scholarship over that same person too. Anyway,
Sucks
but
to
yeah,
suck, you know?
so like, you could either just be like, okay, you're going to be co-valedictorians, because obviously it can happen. I had 6 in my high school or whatever, and every one of them gave a fucking speech. And then, but then I'm thinking, well, why the fuck did my school do that? Why didn't they just have a contest so we only had one fucking speaker? We'd have to sit there for a whole hour. So I
So
don't
you
know. I
wanted
guess
your
I
high
see the
school to do-
point.
I mean, like, they could do a contest for this.
No, I wouldn't have been involved in the contest. Yeah, like you could have 2 valedictorians.
Valedictorian is specifically based on grade point average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
2 valedictorians, 1 speaker.
yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, or like
Problem solved.
you get 2 minutes. You know, like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I remember the SNL skit about like graduation, and I remember sending it to Hannah because we were graduating grad school, and there was like this 80 Bryant was playing like someone making a confused political statement, like hands off my uterus, save the honeybees, and Hannah was like, "That's me."
Yes.
So okay. So they're competing, and and she's like, and if one of you turns this as an opportunity to start singing a song, I will spend the rest of my life to make sure that every drink you drink has a little bit of my pee in it.
This is such a dumb storyline, but Sue's is fantastic in it.
So she's like, Tina's like, you have to take the fall for me because I need this to get into Brown. And I'm like, I'm getting major Rachel and Kurt season 3 vibes.
Oh yeah, this is the exact same thing.
Reason 280 why like most of these kids I would not want to have been friends with in high school. And then he's like, you're prom queen, and she's like, that actually works against me because they consider prom queens vain and self-centered and attention seekers, attention whores. And he's like, well, and I'm like, how would a college know you're a prom queen?
I mean,
if you put it
in your application,
like your extracurriculars or like leadership things.
But like prom queen, like it takes no skills. It's not like class president. It's elected, a
popularity contest.
It's just a popularity contest. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm like, just don't put it on there, and they'll never know.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll say what everyone thinks, that some spirit possessed you or demon possessed you in between junior and senior year, and you've become whiny and crazy and obnoxious and an attention seeker and self-centered. And she's like, you are dating a cheerleader who obviously doesn't love you. And he's like, Kitty loves me. And she's like, you're dating Kitty as a last-ditch attempt at popularity. So you're dating McKinley High's biggest bitch. And then he's like, no, Tina, you're McKinley's biggest bitch.
Like, I'll give him that. Something definitely went wrong with Tina between junior and senior year, but it's not Tina's fault. It's the writers of Glee's fault. They decided to turn her into this like punching bag. She continues to be a punching bag in this episode, but like a punching bag is like, oh yeah, of course we want to punch her. She's being mean.
Was this one of those times where Glee's like, this is what all of the fans have been saying about Tina?
I don't know.
Because that's what it feels like to me. Like they're calling out their own mistake, but they're making it part of the story. So therefore it's not a mistake anymore.
Yeah,
Glee loves that.
They're like, yeah, how did Tina get this way? She's so awful. Let's punish her some more, says the writers.
And I do know that Jen Ushkowitz spoke to the showrunners and asked like for more in between seasons after season 3.
And this is what they gave her.
They gave her punishment.
Wow.
How dare you speak up? You're not Leah Michelle.
I mean, that kind of is what it seems like has happened. Also, like Artie says something of like, well, it's not my fault that you only applied to like, you didn't apply to more like backup schools.
Fair.
And I'm like, but also she spends all her time serving the Glee Club. And I think she says that. She's like, yeah, well, I've been sewing costumes and
building sets.
And splitting sets and swaying in the background. I was like, yeah, she has. And it's then I think this is where she tells Artie that he gets everything he wants. And I'm just like, I thought he was going to make a wow, way to be ableist type thing. That didn't happen.
But like, it is true because she was put in charge of costumes by Mr. Shu. It's basically a fucking sweatshop.
Yep.
And like it was supposed to be like, I'm doing this because Rachel's practicing her solos for nationals and this is my place and I'll have my time to shine. But she's a senior and she's still making these costumes.
Yeah, it should be like Kitty and Marley's job now.
Yeah.
Based on that logic.
Yeah, and then Kitty can shrink everyone's costumes and they'll pass out.
Well, she has a line later that I think that she's trying to give someone else an eating disorder.
I don't remember this, but okay.
We'll get to it.
So the feud is on. And then in Glee Club, Will is like, nationals, we have 4 seniors, and it's too much work of you to ask me to spotlight our less than 5 seniors. So Blaine gets a solo because I guess white privilege, and he's the new Rachel. Artie randomly decided he was the new Rachel.
He's like, yeah, he was
ago.
Voted the new Rachel, and then Blaine's in the back goes, he like whispers, "Oh yeah," like you see him mouth it, and I'm like, oh yeah, see, he didn't even remember.
They're like, because we don't want another puppet thing. So Blaine singing.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
But they did actually vote for Blaine to have a solo, so really they could have just said that.
Yeah, that literally would have been easier and made more sense.
And so we have another solo spot. Not a duet. No duet.
Can't
just
be.
a solo. And as someone who I'm not super familiar with their national set list, but I know some of it. I know the structure that they're setting up in this episode is not what happens.
Fun.
Well, duh. It never is what happens. Never.
But yeah, so he's like, let's have a sing off right now. But like Sam isn't like, hey, I'd like a solo, please, Mr. Shu. It's just it has to be Artie or Tina.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, they sing "Never Gonna Get It." I think that's what the song is called.
Yeah, it's in Vogue.
Never gonna get it.
Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it.
Yeah.
It's a bop.
It's a
The
bop,
cover's
but
it's fine.
it
I
has
guess.
TikTok energy in that, like, oh, this song would be entertaining for 30 seconds.
It's also, I hate the like, I don't know what it's called, but like where they're literally like singing at the camera, like they're singing directly to each other. I hate that. I think it was in one of those wedding numbers with Emma a while ago.
Oh, season 1, I could have danced all night.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that camera use of the camera, and it happens multiple times in this episode in different like scenes. It's horrible.
Yeah,
so I hated this number for that.
They're like singing aggressively at each other, and Will like he looks like he's breaking them up, but it's actually just part of the song.
That was so dumb. I was like,
and then she's like wheeling Artie, and there's like shots to imply that like, you know, he feels uncomfortable or like this is going wrong. And like people do crazy shit with Artie
in his
all the time. He rolled into a pool in season 3.
Yeah.
He swung on a vine in Kitty or Gaga.
But still don't know how that happened.
Kitty leg spread over him and signed, sealed, delivered.
You're saying all these things that I am like, it's suddenly I'm getting flashes of, and it's like I'm dying.
You're dying, and what you're remembering is weird Artie moments. And Lydia's screaming.
I guess like, so I totally missed like the Artie looking uncomfortable things. I was really zoned out, but what exactly happens? Does she like push him really aggressively, or is it like she pushes him into something and he tips over?
There's a cord on the ground.
Yeah, there's a cord.
Okay, so it legitimately was like an accident.
It was an accident.
Okay, because I think I missed the push.
So he falls over, and everyone's like,
the music stops.
And she's like, oh my gosh, Artie, I'm so sorry. And everyone's like, you did this, Tina. And then, yeah, so she's just left to wallow in her guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like there's like an adult there that could have like been in charge and like should
no, there's no adults.
No, definitely
no. No, I can't think of a single one.
Yeah.
It feels like they should have like a teacher club leader or something
something like that
to protect the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Shu fucking sucks.
Yeah. So then we get a scene. We don't see this scene till later where they're leaving, and Tina is like, Artie, I'm so sorry. Like, you're one of my best friends. And Artie's like, ditto.
And I was like, wait, that's the resolution? Not like you embarrassed the shit out of me during that number.
Yeah,
Like,
there was no like actual conversation. It was the weirdest thing.
yeah, he was just like, basically like, let's not talk about it. But he didn't even say that. It was just kind of like understood.
Yeah. And then so they're up there, they're dressed in McKinley red. They're going to what are they doing?
The auditorium, the speech
in
off.
the auditorium. And the judges are Beast, Will, is it Figgins?
Yes.
Yeah, Emma could not be bothered.
Janitor Figgins. And Sue.
And Sue is like, first is absolutely no one's favorite New Direction, Tina Cohen Chang.
And I literally wrote, I'm like, excuse me, she has been there since day one. Yes, she's got an attitude these days, but you know what? She deserves some fucking credit.
Yeah. And at first I was like, wait, and then I'm like, she's not my favorite.
Yeah, that's what sucks, because I couldn't like be like, she's my favorite. I don't have a favorite. I hate them all equally.
I have a, she's my third favorite. I think I like Blaine and Sam more.
Blam,
yeah. Because again, all Glee characters were criminals. But there are some that hold the racist stick less.
Right.
Yeah. Kitty's usually sitting on it, but different characters.
Wait,
hold
when
it. Rachel
did
held it
this episode come out? What year was this? 2013?
1541.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
1541. John Knox wrote it.
Glee,
let me look. I'm on the Glee
episode.
February 25th, 2014. Post Frozen.
Okay, so it wasn't, because I'm trying to think like if there was anything like politically like the president had just been elected, but no, that was like literally in the middle of a term.
Yeah.
I guess it would have been like midterms and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I thought like the political pro-Americanness that was happening. You should drink every time they say patriot, because they're calling each other patriots. And I'm like, excuse me, people did not die in wars for you to say that kind of shit.
I had absolutely no idea that this was like, it took me a few rounds. They go back and forth. Which is really annoying. But It took me like maybe 2 or 3 before I was like, oh, they're actually trying to get the other person to be valedictorian.
How did
you
not pick that up right away?
Because I was still stuck on the fact that their conversation previously ended like terribly, like if that conversation happened in real life, you would know that your friend still hates your guts.
Yeah, because he doesn't look like Ditto. Bring it in for a hug. He's just like, no, Ditto.
And I'm like,
okay, he still hates
some
her.
shenanigans to go on during this speech that would like exacerbate this wedge.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But it's an actual like they're trying to be nice to each other, and it was Tina's not great.
There's a person that changed my life, and it was Artie Abrams, and then it cuts like Figgins crying.
And I'm like,
she calls Artie an American hero. He calls her a patriot. I literally wrote, what the fuck?
Remember when Artie told Tina to dress sexier? She changed her life. You know, that helped.
That's exactly what it was. Oh yeah, she starts her speech by talking about how she wasn't even good at stuttering.
That was okay, kind of.
And I was like, that was pretty good. That was a good nod to the past.
Yeah, and they just praise each other. They're like Gandhi, MLK, something, you know,
Rosa Parks. And I was like, these people are not the same as Artie Abrams. How dare she compare them? Like,
I think that Abrams is kind of the joke, though.
Yeah, but in the context of like, this is supposed to be serious. Like, Tina is supposed to be making a good case for Artie. This is like the worst like high school speech, like everything that's bad about like high school graduation speeches put into one. And also they didn't even do the assignment. They were supposed to give what their speech would be at graduation, and this would never happen at graduation. So they
To
didn't
be
even
fair,
do
I
that.
don't think that they mentioned that the speech has to be anything about graduation whatsoever. You can do whatever type of speech you want. Just
No, it was
whichever
this-
one's
it was-
better.
It was demonstrate what speech you're going to give at graduation. That's what the speech off was.
I don't recall that sentence.
Because that's why Tina starts it, fellow graduates and stuff like that.
yeah,
Not
I
to the
know that's
judges.
implied by the way she starts, but I don't think they actually
I
ever
think
say
they
It
would
was.
say that. They did,
Tina
yeah.
or Sue does say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, this whole thing, it's so dumb. Like, this is one of like the dumbest storylines. It's not like offensive, it's just dumb. And it doesn't go anywhere. Because I'm assuming they're going to be best friends. Presumably what they consider to be best friends. Having lunch and talking once a week.
yeah.
But I guess that's kind of us. We talk once a week. Well, no, we talk.
For
once a week.
honestly though, like adult friends, talking once a week is a lot.
That's super normal. But like if you like are in the same clubs together, you go to school together, you probably have classes together. Talking once a week, there's something
Well,
wrong.
they have
there.
all the same extracurriculars. So
Ugly club.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
your curriculars at McKinney.
And
must
going
be really
in and
good.
out of the Cheerios, like for Tina, she was like in the Cheerios for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Um,
Is Blaine still in the Cheerios? Who knows?
I don't think so.
Well, now that Coach Roz Washington is head of the
But she was in
Cheerios.
charge of him because remember she called him Fruity Fonzie.
Oh yeah.
His fruity voodoo magic.
Well, anyway, so this goes nowhere because then their plan is foiled and it gets given to Blaine.
Yeah, so she's like, that sucked. I hated that. That was treacly.
She literally says, "I hate you both," and I
That was the
choked on my
best.
water. I was like, "That was really good."
Best
And she says
line
it so
of the whole
calmly.
episode.
She's like, "I hate you both."
Yeah. And then so then
And
they
then
give to Blaine.
They're co-salutatorians, or however you say that.
Salutatorians.
Salutatorians.
Is that accurate? I feel like that's it.
Sure.
Yeah, probably.
And Blaine is like, I just feel like everything gets handed to me. And they're just like, they're so mad. They're like,
Oh.
and he's like, I'm really sorry, guys. And they're just like, oh.
And then he's like, I want to like pick like a really great song to sing at graduation. They're like, I can't wait to watch Sue assassinate you. And I was like, yeah, because she said she would kill anybody who does that.
No, she said that she would put her pee in their drinks. Not that she would kill them.
Oh yeah. So then why would, well, she would probably want to assassinate Blaine. And so
Yeah, she
then
did
Blaine's
ruin
like,
Sputter.
oh yeah, he will never recover. I forgot about that. But yeah, no, now Blaine is valedictorian and he's like, I want all the seniors to help me pick a song and we're gonna sing it together or whatever he says. And I'm like, this storyline was so boring.
And so they pick a song and it's not their graduation, they're like practicing for it. They sing Kelly Brianne's because Kelly Clarkson has changed her name.
Did she? What? When? What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't remember. I read a reason.
Wow, fun fact, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe
to
to
read up
distance
on it.
herself from the Ugly Dolls movie.
Okay.
So they sang Breakaway. I've alluded to Breakaway throughout the run of the show.
Uh-huh.
So I had a musical theater radio show in college. And our last song that I pushed for over the Smash's Goodbye song, which, you know what? If that was the other option, I don't regret my choice. Was the Glee cover of Breakaway because we were graduating.
Cullen.
So that played on the radio and in the student center at like 8:30 in the morning on a Thursday. And I found out one of my friends was listening to the radio show because she texted me and was like, "You're going to Boston." Yes. And then Smash, Ivy Lynn sings Breakaway at the most random ass
You know
time.
what? Listen, she sings it in like a little angel costume and it's weird. You know what? This is a better use of the song.
It is a better
Smash,
use of the song.
but
It
it's not good.
So what I always thought was protagonist of Smash, Karen Cartwright, small town girl looking for Broadway dreams. Protagonist of Glee, Rachel Berry, small town girl looking for Broadway dreams. Why would they not give Breakaway to these leads? But then I was like thinking, and I was watching this episode, and I was thinking, Rachel does not deserve Breakaway.
Also, Kelly Clarkson deserves better. She deserves better people to sing her songs in better context.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Give it to Blaine, give it to Tina, give it to Artie. You know, I liked the cover. It is a good cover. Yeah. So that happens. So that's Tardy.
That storyline sucked.
It was just like another reason to bully Tina, I felt like.
Yeah.
So okay,
Go to
Kurt.
New York.
Kurt is nervous that Elliott wants to steal the front man position.
Did you listen to the recap? The recap of the episode literally said Kurt's afraid that Starchild's going to take the spotlight, and I was like, but that literally wasn't a problem anymore, right? Like he decided that he was going to bring in Starchild and like just make it work. Like it.
Apparently,
it's a
not
thing.
After seeing like an interview and the random text.
Okay.
Like
also, they got put in the Village
in
Voice
newspaper. What was that?
They got put in the Village Voice, which is like a pretty significant publication.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why the fuck is this Madonna or whatever cover band that they are named Pamela Lansbury in the Village Voice?
They weren't. It was only Starchild.
Oh, I thought it was like a review of their show, though.
No, they were interviewing Starchild.
Yes.
Why didn't they interview Kurt?
I don't know.
It was after performance because he said that like Kurt said that he had like reached out to the Village Voice, got them in it. And because like Starchild's like, yeah, I'm on a high. I'm so excited for my band. Like that was the quote.
You know,
I don't know, but like, why wasn't Kurt in the article?
Maybe he was, and he was just fixating.
You know what? That's probably it. I wish Blaine would have said something. It was like, yeah, but you're in the article too. And he'd be like, yeah, but all they put me in there says, yeah, what he said.
You know, but that does beg the question. If I was watching this band that had Adam Lambert, Demi Lovato, who sang Skyscraper to a Ghost.
Who was not in this episode.
Not in this episode.
And apparently couldn't be called to have a fun time with Carchild.
Naya Rivera. Leah Michelle. This band. And you're telling me Chris Colfer is their front man? I would be
That's
like,
a good point. Yeah, no, like the Village Voice person is absolutely right. Like they picked the person who clearly has the star power.
Correct.
And it's the guy who has star in his fucking name.
So, you know, Blaine, instead of being like, don't be weird, it's just like, you know, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Kurt's
but
like,
Blaine is a weirdo. We saw him sing to those puppets, you know.
Yeah, but then Kurt's like, I'm gonna be weird.
Yeah. So he invites Starchild over for like cucumber sandwiches. Again, most homosexual plot in Glee.
Yeah, because Santana and Rachel are like, I can't. And we'll get to whatever those reasons are, which are one of them is very valid.
So they're talking and Kurt's like being weird. I don't even know.
Is he like imagining what like so he asks a question and he gets like an answer that's like clearly Kurt is right in his thinking, where he's like, where Star Child's like, oh yeah, no, I'm clearly the best. And then he's just like, wait, what? And he says something different. Like he's imagining those first answers,
I'm pretty
right?
sure that those are like definitely in his head.
Yeah,
They
that
have
was
to be.
weird. It was weirdly shot.
There's no definite like line to say this is reality and this is in his head.
You're still in there, that gas leak.
Yeah, they need to get that fixed.
So then they're like, he's like, oh, can you like teach me how to play guitar? And he's like, yeah, let's play Wonderwall. And then he's like, you need like a machine that's your own. And I'm like, or an instrument, not a machine. But I'm like, for like a few chords, what? And then so they go to a guitar store that is very obviously in LA.
Yeah, I was like, that has like so much walking space. Like that does not occur in New York.
And they're like, don't touch the whatevers.
The axes.
The axes.
And Kurt's like, are these the axes? And I'm assuming they're doing this. It only became apparent to me afterwards, because like the guy is kind of like giving them attitude, the guy who works at the shop. And then Adam Lambert's character is just like, hey dude who's playing this guitar, do you know X song? And they start playing it and they sing. And then afterwards the guy's like, oh yeah, you guys are cool, I'll show you some guitars. And I'm like, what a way to shoehorn a number.
Yeah.
And I think it's I Believe in a Thing Called Love.
Yeah, great song, great cover. I was into it. I sang along.
It was fun. I was having a good time watching the difference between Kurt and Star Child. It was fascinating.
Visuals. Adam Lambert rocking it with those vocals.
Yeah.
Chris Colfer, interesting integration of his voice into the song. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't like amazing. It was okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not a number I would have picked for him.
No.
They clearly picked it for Adam Lambert.
Yeah. And Chris Colfer got into the studio. He was like, this is what I have to sing. Like my voice only goes so low and I can't in my voice gravel. But you know, he did his best and it was fun.
And he got to do some pole dancing. So
he did. That was kind of funny. And then they're on the thing and it's spinning and there's like them and then the two guitarists and they're all like jamming. It was fun.
So then they're showing guitars, and then Kurt is like inviting him to more shit or whatever, like, oh, we should do this or we should do that. And Elliott is like, okay, I know what you're doing. You know, you're being fake. Why can't we just like talk it out, like be real? And
be adults.
Like, be adults.
That's really what he should have said.
Then he's like, yeah, I'm not trying to take your band. I'm just really excited about it.
Yeah, he literally is just like, I know that like you think I'm trying to like steal the spotlight, but like it's your band. You started it. I'm so glad to be with all these cool, talented people. And I am also one of them. You know, it was a very mature conversation.
Yeah. I do get why Kurt would think someone's trying to steal the spotlight, considering the people he went to high school with.
That's true.
That's true.
Although I think a
his trauma.
A better argument for Star Child would have been, I'm not trying to steal the spotlight. If I wanted to have a spotlight, I would just make my own band because it would be so much more popular than yours in about 2 seconds.
Charming.
But he didn't want to hurt Kurt's feelings.
But it's a better argument.
He's using this band temporarily so he can be like, oh, okay, like this is what I shouldn't do. I'm gonna go and do all the things the opposite way.
I'm gonna use you to break out and then create my own thing.
Yeah.
He's looking at the sheet music, a slowed down version of what it feels like for a girl. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So
that happened.
Let's get to the real meat and potatoes of this hellscape.
You keep calling it a hellscape. Really,
hated
This is literally the best storyline of the entire episode.
No.
Yes,
Okay.
come
I'm
on.
like, if I
I
wanted
agree.
to watch two terrorists interact, I would watch politics. Not Glee.
I don't know. I thought the drama was interesting.
So did I.
They suck. I don't want to watch a show about people that just plainly suck.
This is one of the only storylines in Glee that have two women competing against each other without a man in it.
Yeah, you can
That's
pass
true.
the Bechdel test and still suck.
Yeah, but I don't think it sucks. I
don't either.
We think it's pretty okay.
Legitimately, I think that these two
Mercedes and
characters-
Rachel were competing for Maria. It was not about a man. Season
Yeah, but this is, I think
higher
what makes it
stakes for this.
is the stakes is because like, so like TLDR, obviously we'll get into it, but like Rachel and Santana are kind of competing. Well, not really competing. Like they are, but they're not. That's the thing, is kind of like
Mhm.
it's being made into a competition by Rachel and Santana.
as well.
Santana had a good point. It's like, why?
She had a good point, but she could have been like, I'm not doing this. But she's like, you know what? You're short. You're awful. You know?
Yeah, no, she definitely gets dirty, but like,
But
I
I
don't
don't
know, I
think,
think-
okay, I don't think two characters who definitely have it in them to go that far. Like, I didn't think any of this was off the rails for either
yeah,
of them.
I didn't.
So
either.
I was enjoying watching it because I was like, yeah, I think these two characters would do this.
Mhm.
Just
I
because
agree.
you don't like the characters doesn't mean it's a bad
But they're supposed to
storyline.
fucking grow. It's been 5 fucking seasons of this fucking shit.
Yeah, but they didn't. This is the first time we're seeing anything like this.
No, that's what the whole fucking show has been. Who's getting the fucking solo?
Ugh.
I think because of the stakes, it's more interesting because it's not high school stuff, which is like, that's not going to go anywhere. This could go somewhere for both of them. And I think the stakes are really interesting.
Yeah, I watched Smash. This is Smash energy. This has Uma Thurman, Alice energy.
It does. It does have Smash energy. But this is better than Smash.
Yeah, it's just, I think this episode was written by a man. It wasn't John Knox, unfortunately, even though it feels like it. It's like these characters just hate each other. They said they were friends, but they can't share. They can't share the spotlight with each other, even in a situation where one clearly is in a situation where they have more spotlight. You know, so these people are so petty. They're so small-minded
Yeah.
that they can only scream at each other and compete with each other. And that's what this writer thinks women are like. Because that's what Tina did this episode too.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's how Kitty treats Marley.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about the thing that Kitty says. So in that storyline, Kitty literally says, like Artie's like, yeah, they're gonna have to like open the gates for you at Brown or whatever. And Kitty's like, they're gonna have to open them really wide. And I'm like, are you trying to give someone else an eating disorder by insinuating that they're fat?
I remember that line.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
oh yes.
Kitty, did you not learn the first time?
It's just like
Anyway.
through the whole tenure of Glee, the only positive female relationship is Marley and Unique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so watching this in a show that had characters with like nuances and stuff, like, yeah, I could get behind this storyline. Like, I do get what you're saying, that there's good drama. But to me, watching it, it's just like, this is how this writer and this show thinks all women are like. They can't
Yeah.
share, you know? And like, they're just like petty and awful, and these characters can't grow, you know?
But why is this the storyline that you're so gung-ho about?
Because usually you guys just hate everything. So I don't have to advocate for why
Welcome,
it sucks.
welcome to our world.
So like, this is me, you're saying this is good, and I have to be like, no, this is sucks. This is just like Kitty shrinking Marley's costumes to make her puke.
Yeah, But again, I think the thing that, like, I'm not denying any of that. I think that also, like, they're still basically children in more adult bodies. And I think it's the stakes that really gets it for me, that it's interesting that Rachel would still be this way. And it's probably because, she's not ready for that kind of spotlight. She's not ready for that responsibility because she's going to be a brat about it. And Santana, she doesn't really grow either because they're stuck in their old ways. But I think it's the stakes that's interesting to me. I'm not going to deny anything you said. It's just, it's interesting that it's in a real world situation. They're adults and they're still the same way. This actually matters to people's lives. The other stuff was lower stakes.
Especially high stakes for Santana. Especially for her.
Yeah, she cannot outlive that Eustace Stack commercial. And that just made me really sad for all those people who do those kinds of commercials, because I'm like, that probably happens to them in real life. Like the State Farm guy, what's his name? Justin. Not
only that, but that's the only thing she's booked. So she's waiting tables now. Like, she needs money.
Yeah.
And it's a good opportunity for her.
Okay.
Let's
talk about actors unions. Let's talk about the fact that these two girls could not walk off the fucking street and get a lead part on Broadway.
Yep, let's talk about that. Also, let's quickly, before we even, guess we're not even go through it step by step, because listen, that girl that first comes on to audition for this understudy cannot hold a tune to save her life. And I was like, this bitch would not be on the stage right now in front of Peter Facinelli.
She would not have her equity card. She would not have an agent sending her out her headshots.
No, especially if this was like some like small little like workshop thing that was happening way, way, way off Broadway in Boston, that would be different. But like, this is literally a straight to Broadway show. From what I understand, this would not be happening.
And understudies on Broadway come from the ensemble.
Yeah, that's also the thing. I was like, why would you just be auditioning the understudy? You would be doing it from the other people who are already in the show.
Yeah.
So Santana wouldn't even qualify.
Yes.
Unless like she's saying all of this at the diner and Peter Facinelli was like hanging out eating a club sandwich and saw Santana. Also, like, why didn't he see Santana when they sang with Rachel like earlier at the diner? Because Rachel was taking up so much of the spotlight.
I guess.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Or also, it's probably super distracting to be having that happen at a diner.
Yeah. So let's delve more into the reason why Hillary didn't win the presidency this episode. Santana and Rachel are talking at the diner, and Santana's feeling down, and Rachel's actually kind of being a good friend. She's like, no, like, you'll make it, it just takes time. It's easy for you to say. And she's like, I'm supposed to be on the cover of New York Magazine, and they're gonna have these models, but I think I could bring you in. You could just do it.
Ugly.
And then so they're there. Rachel's wearing something, and then there are these models, and Santana's watching. She's imagining herself in the shoot. And
that one was another like weird thing, because I couldn't tell, like, they're singing Brave and they're doing the shoot, and like Santana's in the shoot. Okay, like this is her in the shoot.
Yeah, it took me a while.
Then at the end it's like, oh, she's not in the shoot yet. And I'm like, then why the fuck did I watch this?
Yeah, it made no sense. And they sing Sarah Bareilles' Brave, I guess. Okay.
It's a choice. The cover was fine.
I don't understand why they sing it.
I have no idea.
Like, in what way do you need courage to be on a photo shoot?
Well, I think I'm giving the show too much credit, but I think there's something to the, like, Rachel being like, yeah, I know you can make it. You have to go after it. That kind of thing. I think maybe there's that energy, but also I think they just really, there was also some interesting energy with like, say what you want to say. And I'm like, oh, there's tension between Rachel and Santana here. And this song is saying that. But then I was like, I don't think the show meant to do that.
Do you remember the SNL skit where they would be like, you know, it's time you say what you need to say? And people would be like, do you want to split this cookie? And be like, they'd be like, okay. And then it would start saying, say what you want to say. And then she'd be like, you know what? I want the whole thing. Or like, you're just doing your hair in the bathroom and I can't poop while you're in here. It was so if you think of that, and there was a TikTok I saw the other day that was like, Cerberellus girl, I know I'm letting you down. No, you want me to be brave, but I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I posted it to our social media with the caption, Santana and Frenemies during that photo shoot. So
sorry, I'm listening to what I think is thunder happening outside. Or it could have just been like a truck with a trailer going down the road. I don't know. Florida.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, the photo shoot happened. She's wearing her fucking wig. Rachel is. And I'm like, this is whatever, I guess. Also, she's wearing like a see-through jumper. And I was like, this is an interesting look. That's all I have to say about that.
See-through?
Yeah.
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like kind of focusing on the fact that she was in a jumper and everyone else was in a dress.
Yeah.
It was weird. I
that
did not
photo
notice
shoot
it was
makes
see-through.
no sense.
It doesn't.
Like, me on a magazine being like, what? Like,
why would she, if she's gonna be on the cover of New York Magazine, why wouldn't she be there alone or with her co-star in the show?
Who knows?
Bam, bam.
So okay. So then they're auditioning understudies, and Rachel is like, I don't need an understudy. I'll never miss a show. And I'm like, why do you not understand this like very basic aspect of theater?
Yeah, that was one thing where I was like, everyone has an understudy.
I think another thing that fueled me through this whole sequence or through this whole storyline was that I kind of wanted Rachel to get fired because she's being so unprofessional. Literally, the fact that she's like, I have to go see my understudy getting auditioned, which I'm like, okay, I can understand, like, you maybe want to see who you're working with, but that's not her point.
Mm-hmm.
But also she makes a valid point that like she has some sort of obligation to do something for the show. She has to do that over the stupid band practice. Like, I'm just gonna say that. I was
waiting for Rachel to realize that she was wrong, and she never does.
Yeah, that and I thought that's an interesting choice to end on, because now I'm kind of interested in like, where's she gonna live? Well, God, I hope she doesn't go live with
parents were already paying for her apartment.
Yeah. And Santana's been paying it on her own.
I know. And I'm like, oh, how are they going to afford rent now? Like, I'm very concerned for Santana and Kurt.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, so also
she's like, I'm never gonna get sick. I'm gonna wear a mask like Chinese people do.
And she's like, I'm gonna wear that surgical mask. No. And I said, triggered. And then I said, excuse me, it's called an N95. Thank you very much.
She didn't even know. Remember when she wore a mask back when she was talking with Will?
And it was like this because you can't hold people to.
And she was like moving it around. I'm like, girl, you don't know how to wear a mask.
No. So yeah. She's literally saying this to the director. And he's literally like, this is a normal thing. And she's like, no. And I'm like, you should get fired right then and there.
Yeah, because like, what if you want to take a break? 8 shows a week is a lot.
I think that's like one of the main perks of having an understudy is that like, you can't be singing that much all the time because then your voice is going to get hurt. Like, you're going to get some sort of vocal injury, and then there you go. There goes your whole career because you didn't take a break and rest your voice. Mm-hmm. So she's just like, she's being so childish, but there was something so interesting about the fact that she was being this way in front of the director in like a professional job. I'm like,
I was waiting for consequences, but they never happened.
Yes.
Gotta wait another season. So Yeah, so then she's like, no one can sing in this town.
Well, because the person that comes on, she's literally like so off key that like I don't even think it's an actual note or anywhere near one.
I'm like, this isn't American Idol. You can't just walk up the street and audition for Broadway.
Yeah, it's
So then Santana comes in.
well,
And
she comes in a
singing.
very Rachel because so Peter Facinelli, the director, don't remember what his name is in the show. He calls in Santana Lopez, and Rachel's like, what? And then like I think maybe like the lights go up or like the music comes on and they're like looking around and she comes out the back like Rachel did
in Sectional season 1.
And I was like, wow. Now Santana definitely knew what she was doing. Yes, she was rubbing it in Rachel's face. I still thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know. I just did.
I mean, yeah, it's something Santana would do.
Yeah. And this cover was great. I think it's better than Leah Michelle's. The key change,
the orchestration
runs,
was different. It was more poppy.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But the runs, I said it out loud. I was like this when she was finishing the song. And then I literally said, praise Jesus. Like, I felt like I had been taken to church. It was so good.
The ending of the song was really good. Really, really good.
Rachel was just dumbfounded.
She was like, ah! And then, so then he's like, he's like, oh, where have you been? She's like, me and Rachel are roommates. We went to high school together. We're in the same Glee club. He's like, the same high school produced these two talents.
And this is another interesting thing that's like, oh, I didn't really even think about that. But he's seeing that as like an interesting ploy for promoting the show.
Mm-hmm. Which is incredibly unrealistic. You don't promo a show's understudy.
But maybe you do in this universe.
Because
apparently
people get mad when they go to a show and it's not the headlining actor, which I think sucks. I think that sucks. That's
I agree. I agree. I would be just happy to see the show. I would be kind of bummed, but I also be like, I saw the show.
Yeah. Like, unless you're Lin-Manuel Miranda, who had like, I think it was with the Ainsley Ramos. I don't remember who, but there's this guy. It was the same guy as In the Heights and in Hamilton, who on like Lin-Manuel Miranda would only do 7 shows a week. And this other guy would do the 8th show. So it was like, if you went to that time, you knew you were seeing that guy.
Yeah.
So like, unless you're doing some kind of split casting, you wouldn't promo the understudy.
Right.
That made no sense. So then Rachel's mad at her. They're talking. I think Kurt's there. Yeah. And she's like, how come you didn't tell me? And Santa's like, you'd be mad at me. So figured I just go for it, and then we get this.
Yeah.
This conversation
she took the
ask forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah. And I was like, an interesting choice. I understand it.
Yeah, I get it.
Because Rachel would have tried to talk her out of it, or like, I don't know, like God forbid, well, seeing Rachel's behavior, she probably would have been like, oh yeah, so Santana, she's next, and she's like, and she would have been like shit talking her to the director.
She would maybe send her to a crack house. Yeah.
There you go. She's like, okay, well, here's actually where we're gonna be practicing today. And she's like, this is in Lima.
It's the same crack house.
And this time it's active. Yeah, so like, interesting choice. I totally agreed with it. But yeah, I think Santana knew what she was doing, the exact way that she did it, because also we've talked about how you probably shouldn't audition for a specific part with like the iconic song from that musical, because that just kind of looks tacky, and yet Santana did that, but it pays off. Confusion.
So then Rachel pulls the racist stick out of Kitty's butt, and she's like, Santana, Fanny Bryce was a New York Jew. Rachel, are you a New York Jew?
No.
Leah Michelle, weren't you raised Catholic? And And then
she's like, so if you become Fanny Bryce, that means I would need to be like the queen of the Puerto Rican whatever, she says.
yeah, I'm like, is Santana Puerto Rican?
Well, also,
That doesn't
she
they ever
also
say.
says earlier when they're in the diner, so
There's that
Santana
woman.
experiences that really racist woman who's like, por favor, mi huevos, and she's like, are you talking to me? She's like, I'm from Ohio. She's like, I didn't realize they had Mexicans in Ohio. There are Mexicans a lot of places, woman. Seriously, chill out. But anyway, then Rachel's like, oh, I thought you were gonna go Lima Heights adjacent on her. And Santana's like, this is my job. Like, this, it's so interesting because Rachel sees Santana in a very racist light.
Yeah.
Because she's literally like, oh, well, Santana would go Lima Heights adjacent, quote unquote, in high school, but like, this is her job. She needs the money. And Rachel still sees her the exact same way. And so then that also comes out in this too.
At the end of the day, Santana is a shitty garbage person who I would never want to know. I think people like Santana more because Naira Rivera is incredibly talented. She's funny. Rachel is funny often.
They like Santana with Brittany. I don't think they like Santana. I am speaking for literally all people right now. But like, I think that's kind of the trend, is that people are probably more inclined to like the Sydney, whatever their ship name is, version of Santana.
Like, and the fact that she's the representation of a queer woman of color on TV in a time when that was especially rare.
But like, I mean, I'll be the first person to admit that like she's a shitty person, and I have said this before, and I'll say it again. But so is Rachel, and they're just shitty together. So it's interesting that they're like, they seem like they're kind of becoming friends at the beginning of the episode. Like they have some genuine back and forth.
Because Santana's like,
and then that totally turns, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, women can be friends. If I learned anything from Glee and Protestant reformer John Knox, is that women can be friends.
Yeah, I mean, the show definitely gives off those tones for sure, and especially with this. But also, I think like these characters have history that they then go into where Santana's literally like, listen, the reason you have all your ambition is because of me and all the other people who treated you like shit. And I'm like, Santana, that's really rude to say. Some of that may be true.
But Rachel
but
is
also,
always obsessed,
she doesn't owe you a thank you.
Yeah. And she also, because earlier she's like, you know, Quinn and Britt just kind of hated you. Or no, I was the real one that hated you, and I made Quinn
basically like brainwash.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe, because I think Quinn also hated Rachel.
Yeah. And then, because then like there's also a line like, oh, I hope if the roles were reversed, I would be as kind or whatever.
Wait, who says that?
I think Santana says that to Rachel.
She says something like that. I don't remember what it was. But then I think I remember thinking, no, I don't think it would be, because they're both really selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Like, were all of these little kindnesses at the beginning, are we supposed to think that they're real, or are we supposed to think that they were faking it the whole time?
I don't know.
I'm very unsure about that.
I think they were actually growing towards a friendship.
Mm-hmm. And the show said no.
And then Rachel, because when Rachel later says like we were never friends, Kurt's like, oh no, because she's building a wall, she's protecting herself. That was all fake, you know. I'm trying to think of what. Yeah, it's like in Community, I never thought you were cool, I only thought you were a lesbian. So when Britta thinks she's so cool because she's friends with that lesbian girl, and then it turns out they're both straight, and they both thought the other one was lesbian. So okay, where are we? So she's mad, she's yelling, and Santana's like, yeah, we fueled your ambition, and you just think you're better than us. But you know, I didn't have all your dance lessons, I didn't have all your voice lessons, I'm better than you, and you can't handle that. Rachel does have a good point where she's like, you think she'll be content just to be an understudy? She'll poison me or something to take the role. And I'm like, Santana did give Finn and Quinn mono one time just for fun. She would do that.
So here's the thing that I think is tricky about that, because I think what this is it's Rachel's trauma from being in high school with Santana, making her really paranoid about her being her understudy, that Santana would do something like this.
Yeah.
But I think if Rachel had been gracious about it and was like, okay, you know what? Like, yes, you should be my understudy, or like offered her, say, hey, you should come to the audition or whatever.
Yeah.
That Santana wouldn't do that, because she shows in the first episode, or in the first part of the episode, that like she's taking this diner job seriously. Like, she's going to take a Broadway job very seriously. So I think like it's like trauma. It's like Rachel's trauma really making her paranoid, and that's totally valid. Like, they're both right and they're both wrong.
Yeah, I do think that is a good aspect of this storyline, and that there's no one right person.
And that's like strange for Glee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somewhat like complex and nuanced. And I was like, what is happening?
Because she's like, because the thing is, because she's like, you think she's just some babe in the woods, content to take the crumbs off my stardom.
Oh, that was the most disgusting thing I have ever heard. Like, she's literally being a brat.
Yeah, and she's like, this is a dream come true, and you're ruining it.
Of the two, like, Santana was being a terrible person, especially towards the end. But I just, like, Rachel was so insufferable.
Yeah.
Like, Rachel's the one that brought it to that level. If Rachel had just been like, you know what, good for you, like, that we'll do this together. I don't think Santana would have done that. I think you're right. I think Rachel just sucking.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to handle the situation, and then Santana meets her at that level of, like,
petty.
Yeah, exactly. And she says some pretty terrible things, but none of it's like, I've heard all of that before. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I've witnessed this in real life. It's hurtful stuff, but at the end of the day, it's that's all it is. It's not like, like, Rachel is threatening Santana's ability to actually become something and make something of herself. And Santana's just like, you're short.
Yeah.
Like,
like, she literally reverts back to high school Santana.
Yeah. You're short, you're awful, everyone hates you. You just can't stand someone not as good as you.
Not nice, but also pretty tame.
I think that
like, the queen of slime, the queen of filth, the queen of putrescence.
I think
I could not handle Rachel, but Santana I could handle.
Rachel's clearly because she says early in the episode, she's like, it's just so hard being a star.
Oh,
and I think that's
she puts the
thing
glasses on. Ugh.
I think that's what set Santana off, and it's like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna follow you. I'm going to go into that audition for the understudy that shouldn't technically exist. And I'm going to do exactly something that you did. Like, I feel like that's something Santana would do to, like, just to stick it to Rachel. But then she also, like, gets this awesome role out of it. So I just think that, like, Rachel is not taking her role very seriously because she's not equipped for it emotionally, and she's just like, she's being a brat. And Santana's working really hard, like, she's paying her own rent, and now I'm assuming Rachel's also paying her own rent with whatever Broadway money she might be getting. But, like, I don't know, I feel like Santana is probably, like, really pissed that, like, Rachel gets everything that she wants, and now she's, like, treating it with such frivolity because she's literally just like, it's so hard being a star. And it's like, Santana's like, listen, I'm going to these NIADA classes because I didn't get into NIADA because I never applied. I am working at this diner. I don't have a Broadway job. I get people who are afraid to take toast from me at the diner because I was in a Eustistat commercial. So like she's got a lot of things that Rachel isn't dealing with and has never dealt with. And that's got to set Santana off.
Yeah.
So I think.
But it's just, I hate that they are such terrible friends at the end of the day. Like Rachel can't be like,
yeah,
you know what, Santana, I'm happier for you. And then have a conversation with Kurt and be like, you know what, I am kind of scared because of all the stuff that happened in high school. You know, like she can't handle it in a more mature way. You know, Santana can't be like, you know what, I'm auditioning for Broadway for this funny girl role. Like I'm doing it whether you want to or not, but you know, please support me. You know, like,
the adult version of this conversation would have gone like, Rachel would have been like, I don't trust you because I feel like you're going to do something. And Santana should be like, listen, I take my job at the diner very seriously. I'm going to take this even more seriously because this could be my big break.
Yeah.
And then Rachel could be like, okay, I understand that.
But
that's the conversation
dramatic,
solved.
guys.
I know.
It's not make a
but
TV
like
show.
if we were gonna have like the mature conversation, that's how it should have gone. But these characters are not like that, unfortunately.
Because we have to have the 2500 woman slap in this show.
Yeah, that one sounded like it hurt too.
Yeah, Rachel just flips around and slaps Santana, and she's like,
what
she
was
had
it?
momentum.
That was at the point Santana called her short and something awful and
something else.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
So Rachel turns around and slaps her.
I don't think that any of the things that she said really deserve a slap.
I think that
say physical
is it the first time
is...
Rachel has slapped someone?
Yes. She was slapped by Quinn.
Quinn
Rachel Santana
finally got to do it.
Yeah.
Rachel had been holding all that in, and getting called short is really what set her off.
You know, she's just thinking of her dead boyfriend who Santana always called fat. Like imagine that tension, you know, like they have a lot of history together. And Rachel is like, we've been pretending to be friends since graduation. I'm like, you've been pretending to be friends since you both sang so emotional in the Whitney Houston episode, and Rachel gave you that picture to put in your locker. But okay, close enough. And then so it is sad that like they have all this history, but because so much of it has been bad, it is poison it. And Rachel calls Kurt because Kurt's trying to be like, hey, this doesn't need to happen, because he is a man. So
because like the room is split when Rachel's like, I'm fucking leaving, and like the room is literally split. Santana's on one side, Rachel's on the other, and Kurt is sitting on like the kitchen counter, literally smack dab in the middle of them, trying to like. And they keep going back, like, see, he's siding with me. He's like, I'm not siding with anyone. I just want pizza.
There, at one point, he literally gets in between the two of them, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
He's gonna get slapped by both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Kurt, no.
So then, Rachel's like, "I'm leaving," and then
she does the worst. This was it was both like really dumb in the moment, but then also I thought about like the real life Naya Rivera and Leah Michelle. But like Rachel literally like she hugs Kurt, she goes like toward the door where Santana is, and she like it looks like for a second like she's thinking about hugging her. So then she like goes around her, grabs the picture of them,
from the promotional graduation shot,
rips it in front of her, holds those little crumbs in her hands, walks down the hallway and throws them in the air and walks away. And it's like a slow motion thing. And I was like, oh my God, like this is Leah Michelle getting to like take out shit on Naya Rivera. And like, that's awful. Like poor Naya Rivera.
All while Kelly Clarkson's breakaway place.
I don't know what it is about Rachel. I mean, I know what it is.
Because she's awful.
But she's an awful
too many things to count.
But like, I just cannot. She was tolerable before, but in this episode, I'm just like, I could never be her friend. I could never pretend to be her friend. I could never, like, Santana, at least I could be in the same room with, you know? Not Rachel.
I'd probably get in a fight with Santana.
Would you get in a fight with Rachel?
Yes.
Probably. Because if people are being mean to like my friends, like I remember I actually in a class one time people were like yelling at each other, and this was in college, and I like was like holding them back.
Oof.
Yeah, I usually like if people like I can take a lot of shit myself, but if people are like attacking my friends, I just be like, you know what, shut up, like stop. You know.
I think like
yeah, Santana I cannot tolerate. The moment she started calling people fat, I'd be like, that's not appropriate. Mr. Shoe? Mr. Shoe.
Mr. Shoe.
Mr. Shoe.
Mr. Shoe, are you drunk?
Yeah, I'd go to Sue and be like, can we have a new Glee Club teacher?
And she'd be like, absolutely.
Holly,
I need you to sign this paper that says that you legally want him removed for all of these reasons. And it's like fraud,
shitty hair,
bringing candles to school, stuff like that. Not being able to speak Spanish even though he's the Spanish teacher. Not knowing anything about history even though now he's the history teacher.
Yeah. We forgot to mention, we've got to rush. We've like been like savoring every moment of the storyline, yet also rushing it. Because there is the scene where they're at the theater and Santana is in the dressing room.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Rachel's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm putting on makeup on. And she's like, the cast has a bathroom upstairs. This is for the star. And yeah, she's being a brat, but the door says Rachel Berry. Like it is. Yeah,
and Santana's doing it to instigate.
Yeah. And the guy is like, hey, we're promoted, because Rachel's like, I can't work with her. And he's like, no, we're promoting you guys as the two high school friends who made it to Broadway, just like that article that mentioned Ben Platt and Beanie Feldstein as best friends that made it to Broadway without referencing their rich parents. So you would not promote an understudy. I've said it before. So then he's like, you need to know every move. So I guess if you were going to use every breath you take in Glee, this is how you do it.
It's got so many meanings. Like, I'm watching you. Santana is watching Rachel so she can like learn what she's supposed to do and like match it. And then Rachel's watching Santana because she's paranoid. They're watching each other.
Weirdest use of this song ever.
I was very intrigued. I like wanted to know Alyssa's thoughts because you always talk about this as a stalker song.
It is.
Yeah, and it is.
A what?
A stalker
it's a
song.
Stalker song.
Yeah. But I'm
what
like,
the fuck is a soccer song?
Stalker.
Stalker.
A-L-K-E-R. I was like, red flag, yellow flag, what?
So like, if they used it in a love scene or whatever, I could just see Alyssa being like,
yeah,
so I was like, I want to know how Alyssa feels about the use in this.
I think it was not a good song choice for this particular
they worked backwards.
Animosity. Yeah, it was a weird song choice for this sort of interaction between Santana and Rachel. I think I don't know what I would put there instead.
What is this feeling so sudden and new? I felt the moment I laid eyes on you. Wicked.
What?
No. Loathing from Wicked.
No. I don't. Well,
I don't know.
If they were ever gonna use this song, I think it would have to be for a stalker scene.
Yeah, I mean,
Ryder.
It's only logical.
It's Ryder making that Instagram post after his date with Marley.
I'll be watching you. He's like singing it in the Glee classroom, and everyone's like looking around like, Marley, blink if you need help.
And Marley's like, I finally quit. I'm gone.
This
I'm going to Dalton.
Finally it. Oh my god, what if she did? She's like, I'm transferring. And then Blaine's like, listen, I know a little school. They don't typically accept girls, but here you
go. Some barley content. So
barley content.
So yeah, so then Rachel packs a bunch of bags but leaves with one. And she drifts out the picture of Santana.
And she hugs Kurt though, which I thought was weird because I thought her friendship with Kurt also evaporated because she was like, you sided with Santana, but then they hug. So I was confused.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know.
Yeah. So she moving out. as they would say a few episodes ago. Okay. So that was that.
I think
Hated
that's
it.
everything, right?
Yeah. No Sue storyline, no Will.
I don't think there's anything else in here.
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, there's one little thing that we forgot to talk about in the curtains, the car child scene or storyline, is that they take like a selfie together and Star Child plants a little cheek kiss, and Becky like accosts Blaine in the hallways like,
He's like,
look,
Gay Blaine.
Gay Blaine. It's like your boyfriend or fiance or whoever he is to you now is getting some. And I don't know if that's supposed to go somewhere eventually, or if it's literally just Blaine's like, okay, thanks, Becky, bye.
Yeah, it was really weird. Well, I mean, his reaction was basically, yeah, thanks, Becky. We're definitely
We're good.
We're
He's
still
just a
together.
friend.
yeah. So
no
I don't
drama.
know what the point of that was.
You know, he does not look like a lighthouse, so he's not hot to me, you know?
Yeah. Blaine's like, I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
No large lights. He's not by an ocean. He's fine.
He's fine. I need to contact the person who made that meme. So that's the end of Frenemies. Happy Women's History Month.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
It's what Rosa Parks would have wanted. This episode.
Yeah.
That's what she said on that bus.
This is what Gloria Steinem has worked her whole life for.
Yeah.
This episode of Glee to have aired years ago.
Elle Woods wanted. Yeah. That's what whenever we would want to see Harvard when we lived in Boston, I'd like take them there and be like, okay, here's Harvard. Elle Woods went here.
Elle Woods went here. She wore a dark green skirt suit and was like, what? Like, it's hard in this exact hallway. I think the only time I went to Harvard was because my dad wanted to go to the Natural History Museum that was over there, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, I went there. It was cool.
I think I saw the gate of Harvard.
Yeah.
I walked around and hung out with my friend and her now ex-boyfriend, who was like explaining that the new Beauty and the Beast was good because it dealt with all those like weird internet BuzzFeed kind of list plot holes. And I remember being like,
so if that's true, then at the cost of it being a good film.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, he kind of sucks.
It took me 5 watches to get through it. I watched it in like 10-15 minute increments because I could not sit through it.
Court Overstreet should have been in it because he and Emma Watson dated.
As the Beast?
Didn't she go to Brown?
I think. He should play Sam, but in Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, got it.
He's like in the village and he's like, guys, like, why are we like bullying this girl? Like, why are we attacking this beast? And then he's like singing Copacabana.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay, so Tina
now
time.
it's
Tina time.
Tina time.
22.
I know about you, but I'm feeling Tina content.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a pretty low bar for content.
She did have a lot of lines though.
Okay,
but
let's think about this. Like, as one of the major storylines, is that still considered a lot of lines for like a major storyline, or that's just like a lot of lines for her?
I think that is actually like the normal amount of lines for like.
Because if you just buy a major storyline, the 60-page script approximately
divided by 3. This had 3 storylines.
Yeah, and then what?
So that's 20, right?
20 pages.
Yeah, 20 pages per storyline.
So 1 line a page, 1 line a minute.
Yeah, it's like average.
Low.
Yeah.
Mostly is because I think we just hear other people's voices so much that I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
So let's talk about why the worst character in this episode was Rachel.
I mean, I have that as LVP.
Yeah.
LVP. And again, we know like I'm not a Santana stan, but it's a tight race, but Rachel's worse.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rachel instigated things early on in the episode.
Yeah.
She was super racist up front. And then Santana reacted negatively to that to get back at her. And then she brought things to an even pettier level. So no one's a winner in this situation, I guess, except for Peter Fatch and Ellie, the director.
Yeah.
He's literally Derek from Smash.
Did
He's
he
thriving
make
off of
Rachel-
this girl on girl fighting drama.
Fighting, yeah. It's only a matter of
Well,
time before he makes
where
him
is-
sing happy birthday in his shirt.
Where is Rachel gonna live? Is she just gonna go move into her own apartment, or is she gonna go tell the director like, hey, I had to move out of my apartment? And is he gonna like invite her to live with him and it's gonna get weird?
Please, God, no.
Listen, I have
No.
had to watch Smash. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to. I watched Smash twice in my life, and that's just how I have been conditioned by these type of stories. So I'm hoping it's not going to happen. Not going to be happy if it does.
Who is your favorite character, Hannah?
I said Starchild for putting up with Kurt's weirdness and then also like talking him down in like a mature way. I thought
Yeah.
that was well handled. And honestly, like their story was kind of dumb. Like it was really pointless, but it was fun. Like there were some fun moments. And I'm happy that Adam Lambert gets, gets more lines than Tina does on average.
Yeah.
I'm gonna also go with Starchild. Because in the episode of pure immaturity, he stands as a beacon of light.
Like a lighthouse.
Like a lighthouse.
He is a lighthouse.
Cheating.
Blaine is shaking.
I'm gonna have to go with. I mean, Blaine was okay, but definitely Starchild. Definitely Elliott.
Mhm.
Blaine didn't do anything. He had something handed to him. What are you talking about,
He
Cullen?
said we're all gonna sing a song together, and then when Becky accosted him, he responded calmly.
Okay.
Yeah, but really,
Not a high bar.
this is Glee.
Yeah, it's Glee.
Most of these people have violated the Geneva Convention. So yeah, Starchild was just like normal and just normal might be stretching it, but like he's just trying to live his life.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's like, I'm not here for drama. And we're like, why are you in Glee?
I'm not here to make friends. All right, so
Musica.
can't wait to talk about these songs I already forgot. We have
Whatever Tina and Artie say.
Whenever I Call You Friend, Brave, My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It, Don't Rain on My Parade, I Believe in a Thing Called Love, Every Breath You Take, Breakaway, Beautiful Dreamer by Bad Girl Singer.
Wait, there's
that's
that
right.
many songs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just that unmemorable.
Wow. Okay. Can I look at those?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'm picking Santana's version of Don't Rain on My Parade.
You have to go with your worst one first.
Oh, that's right. I thought we were all just gonna say it was the
Just
Tina
say
and
you both
Artie
then.
song.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
Santana's Don't Rain on My Parade is your favorite.
And then the Tina Artie song was just I fast forward through. I literally heard like the first 3 bars. I'm like, nope. But then a close second for like being really good was I Believe in a Thing Called Love. I was singing along a little bopping. But yeah, no, I was taken to church by Santana, and I appreciate that because I don't go to church very often. Ever
Because they cut
actually.
Silent Night.
Well, it's because I'm afraid that I'm gonna catch on fire.
I'm trying to think of I want to do some kind of meme for the Christmas episode where it's like Glee not understanding how Christianity works, like Europe plunging itself into wars during the Protestant Reformation. Am I a joke to you? Or just some kind of like reference to that.
A really multi-layered meme that you can send to Derek, who was in that episode.
Yes.
Okay. Least favorite song, Whenever I Call You Friend. I don't remember it at all. I have no idea.
Gone from my mind.
Yeah.
It's
Literally,
tardy.
it's blank space.
Baby, and I'll write your name.
My favorite song is I Believe in a Thing Called Love. I had a good time watching it. And I also really like Adam Lambert's voice.
Yeah, that's why he got to be on Pretty Little Liars.
What?
There's an episode of Pretty Little Liars where Adam Lambert plays himself on a Halloween themed train.
What? Okay.
Okay, so worst song, Whenever I Call You a Friend, It's Gone. Whatever. Second place, Brave by Sarah Bareilles, who wrote the musical Waitress.
Mm-hmm.
I
almost picked that too. It's in like my top 3. Like those are honestly the only 3 songs that I was like, okay, yeah, I like this.
Kelly Brand's Breakaway.
No.
Break me off a piece of that Breakaway.
No.
Best song. It was the finale of my radio show. And this shitty episode.
I thought this was a terrible use of the song, but still better than
Smash, which thesis of our podcast, if we go back to the first episode, Glee's better than Smash. Okay, so thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks for coming to our TED Talk.
So next week is Trio.
It's gonna be a doozy, guys.
Got lots of people lined up.
So I'm not gonna name any names, but in the production of planning the episodes, we forgot that we are also a trio. So we invited a trio to be our guest, and now there's gonna be 6 people on the podcast. So come for the craziness. Stay for the hot takes.
Stay for the hot takes. I'm pretty sure none of these people have watched Glee. So Trio's happening. We're gonna triage this trio, as the French would say. So you can find Gleeboot on social media.
Well, apparently we have a post on reddit.com/r/Glee. But you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We are at Gleeboot Pod. You can also find us on Tumblr, gleebootpod.tumblr.com.
Follow me on Instagram at Cullen Ever After.
Follow me on Instagram at a.m.swearingen.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week for Trio.
Yeah.
You know what song they're covering? Jump in.
Shh. Don't spoil it. I want
It's
to
like
be
the beginning of
surprised.
the episode, I'm pretty sure.
I should
Don't
probably
spoil the beginning.
Oh, no, I shouldn't watch it now because I'm literally gonna forget it because we're not
We're not recording Sunday. It'll be the 27th. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, no, I can't watch it yet. Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.